Beneath Antarctica's thick frozen surface lies a deep, dark secret. Today, we're going to melt all that ice instantly and see how it would transform Earth. What mysteries are buried under its icy shell? What happens to our cities if the water rises? And could ancient diseases really come back to life? This is What If. And here's what would happen if all Antarctica's ice melted right now. Welcome to Antarctica. This frozen giant is 40% bigger than Europe, home to seals, whales, penguins, and a handful of scientists bundled up in the cold. But the real monster here is its ice. Antarctica holds a staggering 25 million cubic kilometers of it. That's 90% of all the ice on Earth, and about 60% of our planet's freshwater. One chunk alone, the Thwaites Glacier, also known as the Doomsday Glacier, is the size of Florida. If it fully collapses, sea levels would rise catastrophically, and in our scenario, it melts in seconds. In a flash, Thwaites disintegrates. The Southern Ocean swells. Sea levels surge by 60 centimeters. Miami floods. New Orleans drowns. San Francisco streets fill with salt water. But that's only the beginning. See, in Antarctica doesn't just sit frozen at the surface. Hidden below are vast rivers powered by geothermal energy, carving their way under the ice sheet. When huge slabs break off, they accelerate, melting in a runaway chain reaction. And before long, neighboring glaciers collapse too. Glaciers the size of nations vanish, and sea levels rise another 2.5 meters. Entire coastlines vanish. Millions of people are forced inland. And here's something strange. Near Antarctica, the sea level actually falls. Why? Because the ice had been pulling water toward it with sheer gravitational mass. Once it's gone, the water rushes outward, pushing tides even higher on distant shores. Meanwhile, something far more dangerous than rising water bubbles to the surface: ancient pathogens. Microbes and viruses, frozen for millions of years, now break free. Our modern immune systems have never seen them. Imagine trying to fight infections no antibiotic can cure. Some could spread uncontrollably, others could merge with our bacteria, passing along super-resistant genes. It could trigger pandemics unlike anything in history. If you're fascinated by terrifying, what-if scenarios, make sure to hit subscribe, that way you don't miss when we explore even stranger possibilities hidden on our planet. But viruses aren't the only surprises under the ice. Strange ecosystems thrive here. On the underside of Antarctic ice float bizarre wriggling anemones, feeding on ancient bacteria and the remains of creatures long extinct. Melting ice also disturbs ocean currents. Normally dense, salty water sinks, pushing nutrients and heat around the globe like a conveyor belt. But with so much freshwater flooding in, that conveyor jams. The Gulf Stream weakens. Weather patterns collapse. In some models, it could even push the Earth into a new ice age. In others, it heats Earth even faster. Either way, life as we know it changes forever. And the seas keep rising. Another 4 meters. New York, Boston, Shanghai, Mumbai, gone. Ports destroyed. Croplands poisoned with salt water. Even aquifers underground, the very drinking water we need, become contaminated. Now, everyone's thirsty and desperate. Then 10 meters. Then 20. And finally 17 meters higher than today. 40% of humanity, 3 billion people living along coastlines, are swept away. Iconic cities like London, Paris, Venice, Tokyo all gone. California fractures into islands, while Bangladesh and entire nations vanish below the waves. The catastrophe unleashes chaos. Governments scramble to rescue survivors stranded on rooftops with helicopters and boats, but sheer numbers overwhelm them. Inland cities like Denver, Minneapolis, and Las Vegas suddenly boom with people looking for safe refuge, even as global tensions rise over food, land, and water. And let's not forget the permafrost. Once frozen soil thaws, it burps methane and carbon dioxide, adding fuel to global warming. The more it melts, the hotter Earth gets. Temperatures climb 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, higher than today. Earth becomes sweltering. Microbes in oceans decompose faster, releasing even more carbon dioxide. Hotter oceans mean deadlier storms. Life on Earth is fighting to survive. But in the middle of disaster, something incredible appears. Antarctica's hidden wonders. A canyon deeper and longer than the Grand Canyon. A freshwater lake sealed under ice for 15 million years. Full of microorganisms we've never seen before. And lush, temperate landscapes once covered in rainforest. Flash forward, Antarctica warms. Imagine a tropical coastline in what was once the coldest place on Earth. And hey, if this wild vision of Earth makes you think, be sure to subscribe. It's the easiest way to keep exploring epic, what-if moments with us. So in the end, if Antarctica melted overnight, 3 billion lives would be lost, most of our great cities gone, drinking water contaminated, new diseases unleashed, and global climates thrown into chaos. Earth would be hotter, wetter, and far more dangerous. But thankfully, Antarctica isn't vanishing in a day. It's a warning of what could happen over centuries if climate change keeps accelerating. The ice is melting faster than ever before, and the future is still in our hands. So, what if land and water suddenly switched places? Well, that's a question for another episode of What If. And don't forget subscribe now so you'll be here when we explore it.